Right? We've got the Depression, people are having a tough enough time. We don't want to get involved in European problems, right? We have a different, American exceptionalism, we're different. There is a strong feeling of that. And let's face it, that's very understandable. But we know more and more the world is all connected.
And I was thinking, the ocean divides us, so I don't really have
the luxury.
Yeah, I don't have to deal with this.
I don't have to do
I can
Right. But actually, what we do know now is that even though so many people have said, we didn't know anything about it, we didn't know what was really going on, that's not true. Because it was in the papers all the time, it was on the news all the time. People did know, but I think those, yes. And, you know, I do get it. I do really get it. So let's go through it. Okay, it's hard to talk about this, but what we've got here are the films of the US and Germany, and sometimes you don't know which is which when you look at those, because we now understand that the German Bund was incredibly strong. They made tremendous inroads, and it really was touch and go that whether US would stay on the Allied side. Here we also have outright anti-Semitism, saying that were you a sucker for the Jews in the last war? You know, the Jews created the last war. This is, believe it or not, this is a Jewish emergency, not an American emergency. So there was a lot of feeling that it was the Jews' fault. And you know the story of the St. Louis? The story of the St. Louis.
Cuba?
Yes. This was a group of German Jews. They would have been the more affluent ones because they actually managed to, right, I think it was 39, yes, in 39, they managed to get visas for Cuba, and they're getting out. When they get to Cuba, there's a whole lot of shenanigans because they don't accept their visas backwards and forwards. The ship, the St. Louis, goes on to Miami. My friend's husband was 9 years old on that ship, saw the lights of Miami, became very excited, we're going to land in America. No, they were not allowed. They were sent back to Europe. And
we knew.
So that was pretty awful. There was efforts at Evian to try and see what you can do about these refugees who were trying to get out. But there was nothing decided. And Breckinridge Long, who was in the State Department, when he got these letters, he said it here. When you get these letters appealing, said postpone, postpone, postpone. You will not let people in. Of course, exceptions are made for people like Einstein and a few others who were especially got out. I don't know if anybody's seen the TV series Transatlantic, which shows, Varian Fry, who was a real hero. He went and tried to get
wrote the book. My cousin wrote the book, Julie Loring.
Oh, amazing.
It's
Amazing.
originally called, it's called Flight Portfolio.
How did
The book was retitled when they turned it into Netflix.
Yes.
The book is called Flight Portfolio.
Yes.
Because they're in for the international rescue communities operations out of Marseille.
Yes, that's right. I mean, it is, you know, it's Netflix, it's televised, so it's not 100% accurate, but it's an important story of somebody who really did go and try and bring people out, no question. Okay. Don't want to get into the war, but of course, yes, America gets into the war ostensibly because of Pearl Harbor, but also, look, this is Hitler's declaration on US. A little bit later, we're getting now into 42. Gerhard Riegner, who worked for the World Jewish Congress in Switzerland, sends a telegram to Stephen Wise, who was one of the leaders, Rabbi Stephen Wise, leader in New York, to tell about the final solution, the decision not just to shoot Jews, people were shooting Jews just in a random way. The final solution was the organization of death camps and using the poison gas, the Zyklon B poison gas, for a systematic genocide. Now, who's going to believe that? They didn't believe it. Roosevelt
Wise knows Roosevelt. He goes to him. Roosevelt says, I'm sending it to my State Department. We can't do anything until we confirmed. But it gets lost in the State Department. And so, you know, while there were a few rescues really early, 39, we have a guy from Philadelphia who went and brought up this little girl's pajamas and teddy bear there, Helga Weiss. We have her there. But, you know, and England took 10,000, what was called the Kinder Transport. But then he got 50 out. Well, I mean, good for him, he got 50 out. But, yeah. So it takes until January of 44 when finally the War Refugee Board is formed in order to try and get people out, get Jews out from the US. It takes a long time. By that time, millions have been killed. I must say that one of the people who really worked on that was Eleanor Roosevelt. People are very divided about Roosevelt's role in this. I'm not going to come down one way or the other. Henry Morgenthau was a guy who also worked on trying to get this to happen. By the time they start to get people out, the Americans are already landed in southern Italy. Actually, I was in southern Italy and saw some camps there where people who managed to get them rescued, and they got them out. And they did, one of the biggest rescues was the story of 980 who were rescued and sent to a place called Oswego. Anybody know about the Oswego camp where they were? Yeah.
The journalist who wrote a book called The Haven, right?
Yes. New York area.
Upstate New York.
Yes.
Rachel Gruber.
Yes, that's the name.
She joined them.
Exactly. All right, we're getting late, and I am not going to spend very much time. Of course, Americans in the war. We've got some females here. Who's there?
Bomb landed in Hyde Park, and it was close enough that we were thrown out of bed in the morning.
I mean, that's my personal history. My parents are on the time.
Things that happened. I think I blocked them out of my thoughts.
No, I don't think this is good.
We came home on North ship. There was a lot of jubilation.
By all means, go back to this.
A lot of
The
happiness.
one thing I wanted to emphasize, if this doesn't come up, was the story of Dachau.
You know,
Because
it's
the
a
American
lot of
forces were there and went in and saw what that was like. But what General Eisenhower at the time
It was
said,
1945, the end of it.
I think this is it, so I'm going to let you
I
go.
was ordered to move into Germany and go to Dachau. And the results of my being there, that made me a different person. We started to move toward the camp. The smell was hitting us. An officer drove up and he said, what you're about to see in the camp is your worst nightmare. You will not believe the things you're going to see in there. Everybody must go into the camp on orders of General Eisenhower. He has already sent out an all points bulletin to any division that's within a 25-mile radius must be trucked in to see this.
I think that's what this is about. When he made that.
And you know, we walked in, we knew that something terrible had happened here. There were 3 buildings. Opened up this first building, it's all full of air. The air was to be used for something, for ammunition. I don't know what it was, but it was usable. The second building held teeth. With people in there looking for gold. The third building, suitcases. With the names of the people, the towns they came from. You open it up and there's nothing in there. That's when I started to cry. Everything in there's gotta be told. It's gotta be told. Prayer is not enough. Prayer is not enough. You've got to go out there and do things. You've got to go out there and your people, you got to tell them this happened.
Pretty tough.
Jewish soldiers
But I'm
really
going
took a lot of flack.
to finish off with something a little more,
Fights.
well, I think it's positive. It's
Well,
interesting.
one fellow, he said that I was
We look at this.
Christ killer. I didn't even know what he was talking about.
This is a wedding dress. Okay? Wedding dress of a woman called Belle Rabinovitz from Philadelphia, who married her high school sweetheart, George Westphal. He was a fighter pilot in the war.
The thing is, we're supposed to
And,
get back like the
he
10th
was a
line of
hero.
defense. But guess what?
They were bombed.
Germans broke
He
through.
managed to get his guys out, and they were all badly burned. And they were told, how this happened, to keep their parachute. So he
I was
kept
always the
his
point
parachute.
man. I was never the real
He was-
man.
he healed
I had
up to
responsibility
some
with
extent.
my people over there.
And when he
you
went
have
home
such a
and
time. It's hard to
after the
understand.
war,
I never had
to
this
get married,
relationship with anybody
Belle
in this world
decided
of being
take
so
the
close to
parachute
people.
and create
really
her wedding
cared.
dress out of the parachute.
And we didn't even know each other.
Some were made of silk and some were made of nylon. This was made of nylon, which is quite
Bombs are
new at the
falling
time.
and
But
88 missiles
and I looked it up, and
airplanes
apparently
and
there
all
were
that.
quite a few people
And
who
they
did
didn't
that. I
really
know
want
that
to
she
pray.
wasn't the only one. But I just thought
They
it was
say
such
there
a
are no
poignant
atheists
story.
in foxholes.
Beautiful dress.
And
Yes,
you do
yes,
crazy
yes.
things.
One thing to create
Like on Friday night,
Let's just
I dig
gather
a
out here.
foxhole, and then I dig a hole into the side all the way in. And what I do is, my mother, she used to send me wine. Now that was illegal to send wine. So she went to the doctor and got a medicine bottle of cough medicine. And she takes the cough medicine, stirred it
Alright,
out,
I am
put
going
the
to
wine
stop
over
at this
there,
point
and
because I
made
think
the thing,
you've heard
also
enough of
made
my
the cigar.
voice. And there is a lot
what I did
more
was I dug in,
because we
took the
skipped
sea
through
ration
several
can,
things.
put the can
And
away,
also the
lit the
second
candle,
floor is
and
post
and I took my
1945.
and
The
I had
second
my
floor
chapel.
looks at the call of Israel. It looks at the